Good evening. I'm Brady Burrell. Welcome to our live coverage of tonight's forum for the candidates running for St. Mary Parish President and Sheriff, sponsored by the St. Mary Chapter NAACP. I'm also joined with Brian Prodich. Good evening, Brian.
Good evening, Brady.
Thank you very much for joining us. We also want to let you know that besides tonight, there will be two other forums. One of those forums this Thursday night, September 21st, 6 o'clock p.m., also for the candidates running for St. Mary Parish President. And the final forum featuring the candidates for sheriff will be held next Thursday. I'm sorry, this coming Monday, September 25th at 6 p.m. here at the Patterson Civic Center.
For Parish President, please come.
Both of those forums are being sponsored by the St. Mary Chamber of Commerce, and you can watch our live coverage of the forums on all of our video platforms that you're watching tonight's forum on. There will not be a live forum for parish council candidates due to there being over 20 candidates running for those positions. Therefore, a questionnaire was sent to the council candidates. Their responses will be released in a digital publication on Friday, September 29th, the day before early voting begins. And we will publish those results at kqkinews.com. And Saturday, September 30th, which is a week from this Saturday,
yeah,
Brian.
That's right.
Already, early voting begins.
Yeah.
And early voting is way bigger than it used to be.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yep.
A lot of people, they like to go out, do it early.
Mm-hmm.
That way, you just never know. Something comes
Exactly.
up, you have your voting done.
Right. Election day, LSU plays Auburn, I believe, at home. That's a big game. So if you want to get your early voting done, then you can do that beginning September 30th through the next Saturday, October 7th. You can vote at both ends of the parish, at the St. Mary Parish Courthouse in Franklin and at the Register of Voters Annex Office on 3rd Street in Morgan City. We are just moments from beginning. And we want to thank Ms. Danica Foley-Long with KWBJ-TV, who will be moderating tonight's forum, which, of course, is sponsored by the St. Mary Parish chapter of the NAACP. Once again, featuring the candidates for St. Mary Parish President and Sheriff. And I do see both candidates, Timothy LeBlanc and Sam Jones, have taken the stage. And as I mentioned, we're just moments away. And while we're waiting to begin, some big races in the parish, open seats such as sheriff, parish president, senate, a lot of council candidates on the ballot this year. So a lot of decisions, big decisions to make for all the voters of St. Mary Parish.
We'd like to welcome you to our Empowerment Enrichment Forum.
Good evening, everyone. I ask humbly that we all stand so we can join together in prayer. Let us bow our heads as we go to the throne of grace. Heavenly Father, in heaven we seek you, Father. We thank you for allowing us as a community to come together, Father. Let those that speak your word justly into your people, Father. Father, we ask and pray that you bless all those that are present, Father, that you lift the spirit within his tonight, Father. We thank you for all things. And in Jesus' name, let us all say amen. Let us follow with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Oh, when the saints goes marching in. Oh, when the saints. Oh, wrong audience. Okay. Good evening, distinguished guests, members of St. Mary NAACP number 6091, head of governmental agency, leaders of the political parties, candidates, and guests. The theme for tonight is empowerment and enrichment. The two words are very powerful. Empowerment is an authority or a power given to do something. It is a process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming one's right. Tonight, I want to focus on the steps to empowerment when these candidates speak. They must have a clear understanding of what their objective is. It is important that they accomplish it. They must know why achieving what the outcome is important, because they are on our term. And they must be included in the creation of what we call a path forward. We have to make a difference in the journey, especially in St. Mary Parish. Now, the other is enrichment. Enrichment meaning the action of improving or enhancement the quality of a value of something. And to do that, we need to educate, we need to solve problems, and of course, hands-on project that entices our community. Tonight, you will hear our candidates participating in this forum to share their ideas, their views, belief, and personal experience. Let's face it, this is important. This is an important election because these candidates, one of them will be our leaders for the law and civil liberty of our democracy. These candidates play a key factor in shaping our community and, more importantly, a haven for us and for our children to live and given the opportunity to come and be a part of that community. Let's see who has that vision. Someone once said, since breaking the law begins in the minds of men, it is in the minds of men that the defense of peace must be constructed. I challenge you as citizens of St. Mary Parish to listen attentively to the candidates and their means of contributing peace, leadership, and security. Can they promote collaboration among communities through education and culture to further unite in respect for justice fairly? I say to you, they cannot just hold a title, they must be versatile. They must be able to reach the whole community and respect the rights and fundamental freedom which are affirmed to the people of this St. Mary Parish. Tonight, you, the audience, and those listening on other devices will have that opportunity to make good representation of this forum and the leadership the candidates will take tonight to lead and to provide incentive to this community. We hope this forum will, number one, improve the thoughts on voting the person in that position for St. Mary Parish as a whole. Secondly, voice your opinion, and that opinion is for you to vote and encourage others to do the same. We need their vote to make a difference. On behalf of St. Mary Parish NAACP, number 6091, we thank you for coming, and we know that on October 14, 2023, you will vote for changes and who will make a difference in the community we live in. Again, we thank you. Oh, when the saints goes marching in. Oh, when the saints goes marching in. Have a good night, okay? And thank you.
And next up, we have Mrs. Danica Foley-Long of KWBJ in Morgan City. She will give the forum rules and also introduce the candidates.
Like y'all know I was sitting over there. How y'all doing? Come on now, this is a forum. I want you guys to loosen it up, shake it up a little bit, shake up the arms, break up the tension. How y'all feeling? Okay, thank you, baby. You got my back. All right. You're loose. That's what I'm talking about. Get loose. Let's break up the tension up in here. All right. So in my household, I like to say it is our civic duty that we must vote. So I want to thank each and every one of you for showing up, whether you are here for one candidate or another. I want to give you applause in my head and telling you thank you for showing up, because it is your civic duty. My three girls know they're getting out to vote. So whether you show up in person or if you're online, I thank you for showing up to do your civic duty to learn more about the candidates. Next, I want to applaud each and every one of you, the candidates, for throwing your names in the hat. It takes a lot of gall and guts to do so. But our job is to vote the best candidate that will move our parish forward. With that said, you are allowed 2 minutes to introduce yourselves, and we will start with you, sir. Mr. LeBlanc, would you like to start off? And your timer is Miss Whitney Bro. Can you show us each of your timer sheets, please? Here's your 1 minute, 20 seconds, and time. And I will respectfully, I know both of you, I will respectfully cut you off if you go over. Let's go. Oh, excuse me.
Testing? Testing? Okay. Well, good evening and thank you. That was a beautiful opening. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here this evening attending the Empowerment Enrichment Forum to discuss my candidacy for St. Mary Parish. But not only to the other candidates, I appreciate everyone's involvement in doing this. I'm a lifelong resident of Franklin, graduated at Franklin Senior High, and continued my education at Young Memorial, getting an electrical degree. I married my high school sweetheart, Karen Hebert LeBlanc, and had two wonderful children, Megan and Jamin. We're very proud of raising our kids at St. Mary Parish, and we're looking forward to their bright future. I have a career of 23 years in the oil and gas. Through that time, I've grown as a husband, a father, a leader, understanding that without compromise and humility, we can't move forward. Without compromise, you can't reach the goals for all. Without humility, you can't reach your full potential. It is time for a change. It is time for new leaders to step up. It is time for a new generation to help move forward. While we thank the ones that give us this opportunity, I am looking forward to working with each and every one of the citizens, community leaders, and tribal leaders. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tim LeBlanc. Mr. Sam Jones,
Thank you. I'm Sam Jones.
please hold the mic to you. Thank you.
Test,
Yes.
test. I'm Sam Jones. I've been around forever. I was first elected mayor in 1982, served 22 years as a mayor of Franklin. Went to Baton Rouge, worked for Governor Kathleen Blanco for 4 years. At the end of that time, there was an opening in the State House. I ran for the state representative's position, won it, and got reelected 2 additional times without opposition. And then I worked, my seatmate was a guy named John Bell Edwards. He turned to me one day and said, Sam, I'm going to run for governor. I said, okay. And that kind of worked out. So I'm working for him, and I'll retire at the end of this year. In the time that I've been in Baton Rouge, we brought back to this parish $950 million in infrastructure repairs and assistance. That's not even including retirement systems that were haggardly handled. They were broken. We fixed those. In another 3 years, they're going to be fully funded. We've done a lot of work. Some of the work we've done is like the bridges in Morgan City. 50 years, there had not been any repair in the bridge, but the old bridge was 70 years, no repairs, no improvements. We built the port office in Morgan City for $11 million. We built 2 overpasses, one in Patouville and one in Four Corners, grand total of $115 million. My partner was Brett Allen. He was excellent to work with. Butch Gautreaux was my first partner. He was excellent to work with. I think we've done a good job. I want to come back here and finish up 1 term and talk about making this a full-time parish presidency.
Thank you very much. All right, now it is time for the rules, and they're pretty short and to the point. The questions were submitted by members of the NAACP St. Mary Parish chapter. You will be allowed 3 minutes to answer each of the questions. The candidates have been given the questions beforehand. We will change them out interchangeably, so you will not go first each time, Mr. Tim. The first question, however, is for you. I will repeat the question, and again, I will respectfully cut you off in case I have to. All right. First question, there are 5 questions for the parish president candidates. The first question is, by your definition, what is the role of the parish president? What are the responsibilities of the parish president? And I'll repeat that for our media partners, and I'd like to thank KBZE as well as KQKI for being a part of this. By your definition, what is the role of the parish president, and what are the responsibilities of the parish president?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Parish president should bring integrity, transparency, and resolve to the office. He should be determined to bring in fairness to all districts and communities. He should be a spokesman for bringing new businesses in for St. Mary Parish. President should needs to help educate communities to understand government policies for local improvements, but also push for better policies to would help grow their economy. Parish president should not be created division amongst anyone willing to help, because you never know when that next idea will come up and be a great idea. To be a servant leader, to show everyone that has a voice and show everyone to be heard. Parish president should provide quality service in an efficient manner and work with businesses, citizens of communities, and other government agencies to create a healthy physical, social, and economical environment. Service to provide to accountable and professional manner in line with St. Mary Parish Council and communities to discuss and open new doors for the community, to push forward to improve our parks and good entertainment for our children, to bring excitement and new energy to the St. Mary Parish office. Thank you.
Same question for you, and just allow me to repeat the question again for those who may be watching and coming in late on the media outlet. So again, your question, by your definition, what is the role of the parish president? What are the responsibilities of the parish president?
Well, I want to thank Tim. He described me perfectly. I've been doing this for a long time. I know how to do it. And the idea that parish president could do all of those things is impossible, because as a part-time parish president, you just don't have a full-time person doing what needs to be done. We have the only parish in this state, the only one that has a parish council form of government that has a part-time parish president. Every other one has a full-time parish president. In our parish presidency, in our parish actually, we lost 5,000 people in the last census. One of only 2 parishes in the state to lose people. The other one was Caddo up in North Louisiana. Why is that? I think being a part-time parish president is a major reason for it, and it's a major problem. You can't fix things if you're there just a little bit of the time, and that's what's happened historically in this parish. So I'd like to see us consider going to a full-time parish president, join the rest of the state and do what they've done, and they've continued to expand and get bigger and better. I would like to also thank Mayor Grogan for his endorsement of me for this seat. I want to thank Mayor Clarence Baffey for his endorsement for this seat. I want to thank Mayor Eugene Flocard, his vote, and all that he's doing for me. I'd like to also thank Duval Arthur, who's here tonight, for his endorsement. We go back to the 1970s when we were deputies together. And I also want to thank Lee Dragner for his endorsement. And also the president of the Chitimacha tribe has my sign in her yard, and the vice chairman also has my sign in her yard. And they're looking forward to us working closer together and tighter. doing things that we can only do as a unit. I've been in politics now for, I guess, 42 years. And if you tack on the 9 years that I was in the Sheriff's Department, it's 51 years. I still have the energy. I think I still have the character. I have been in those jobs all this time without a single mention of anything wrong, anything illegal, anything crazy or something like that. I have 4 years left in me. I'm not looking for 2 terms, but I'm looking to fix what's going on wrong in the parish council. When you have to have a policeman in the room to stop fighting that gets started in there, that's horrific. That's terrible. No other government does that. No other government has to have a policeman in the room. We're going to clean that up. We're going to get it right, and we're going to act like ladies and gentlemen.
All right, thank you very much to both candidates. The second question will go to you, Mr. Sam Jones, and that question is, why are you seeking the office of St. Mary Parish President? What experience do you bring with you that has prepared you for the parish president position? One more time. Why are you seeking the office of St. Mary Parish President? What experience do you bring with you that has prepared you for the parish president seat?
Everybody in this room knows the experience that I have and what I've done in politics for all these years. It was something that affected me early on, and I made a decision to run for Mayor of Franklin. I was 24 years old, and I was just a little bit too young, lost by 100 votes. But after that, everything worked out. And each time I was elected, I was reelected a number of times, including the last 2 times in the State House with no opposition. I'd like to just talk about that question a little bit. We really need to get to the point where, I guess I'm going to drop a bomb here. The parish council has actually borrowed itself into poverty. They cannot borrow another dime. They have maxed out the borrowing. There's no other city in this parish that's done that. Every other city is solvent. They have the ability to react. They have the ability to borrow money for catastrophes, or to borrow money to when it comes time to fix a road or fix something. But the parish council is just dead on arrival. There's nowhere else to turn. I've had people calling me now from upstairs in the 5th floor for like the last 2 weeks. Can I keep my job? Can I do this? Can I do? Oh, I said, well, tell me what's going on. We're having trouble making payroll. We're having trouble making payroll. And they go on through a litany of terrorist, almost terrorist considerations that we're having to go through as this administration closes. It's my hope that, and it'll be tough, because, you know, when I was in the House, Governor Jindal left us with a $2 billion deficit, and it took us 2 years to fix that, and it took us 7 special sessions. We don't have those kinds of options at the local level. We need to have, what was that, 1 minute? 1 minute. We need to have a plan. We need to have a steady plan that will, at least in the first year, steady the ship. In the second year, we can start repairing it, and hopefully at the end of that term, we can hand it back so much better than what we found it. I'll tell you this, everywhere that I've been elected and gone to, I've left the job better than what I found it, everywhere. And I think you know that, because you were part of the trip. You reelected me so many times. It was humbling. It was just humbling. I'll say it that way. Thank you so much.
Mr. Tim, why are you seeking the office of St. Mary Parish President? What experience do you bring with you that has prepared you for the parish president position?
Thank you. I'm seeking the parish president office to affect positive change and cost efficiency. As everyone knows, like my candidate just mentioned, that there's a decline in population, and that has to be turned around. There are 2 questions we have to ask each other. Why are residents leaving, and what needs to happen to our businesses for them to grow? And if we effectively honestly answer those questions, we'll stop the decline in growth. My work history brings several ideal experiences for this. budgeting, project planning and execution, team building, decision making, and people management. Working as a team is essential for us to move forward, working with our local governments, our citizens, and our tribal leaders. We have to enable people to make the right decisions. We have to enable us, the businesses, to affect change. My work experience also brings in tough decisions that needs to be happened. Through that process, you need to be able to evaluate the people that you trust and understand what the circumstances are. Look at the facts, and typically once you look at the facts, the answer comes into clear. We have to work together. We have to move as one, and the only way we do that is a team building, direct effect, council, parish leaders, and citizens. Thank you.
Question number 3, we'll start off with you, Mr. Tim. What do you think are the 3 biggest issues facing St. Mary Parish? What do you think are the 3 biggest issues facing St. Mary Parish?
Well, we talked about one already. It's population loss. Business loss is second, and then education. We must stop the decline of population that directly affects our business, employment, our sales, and to fund this great community. We have to have open conversation with our local businesses to see what their needs are and work together to fulfill those needs. We need to educate our small businesses and owners so they can bid and be a part of government contracts. Educate them on subcontracts so that they can not burden by the high insurance costs. We must think outside the box to give new businesses coming to St. Mary Parish. We are a coastal parish that's connected to waterways that will continue to be profitable with opportunities years to come. If we do these things right, we should drive down unemployment and increase revenues for St. Mary Parish. Thank you.
Mr. Sam, same question. What do you think are the 3 biggest issues facing St. Mary Parish?
There are a number of them. Flooding, hurricanes. I mean, we could go on and on with that. I'll say this, the business people in this parish have come around to me. They've seen my work. They had doubts in the beginning. They've seen my work. I meet with them, talk with them a lot. I've joined their organizations. We have a plan. It's going to be long. It's going to be hard because the problem is the financial condition of the parish. It's just terrible. But you know, the state's a partner. There was a time when I tried to give money to the parish council, and we have a 75-25 ratio. The parish has to put up 25%. Every time I brought money to one of the cities, they had the 25%. Every time I brought a project to the parish, they were broke. And I asked the question, are y'all really broke? And the answer was always the same. Not one time did the parish president accept the money because they didn't have the money to match the grant. And that bothers me. That tells me we're not having a problem in the parish so much as we're having a problem at the parish council. If the cities can do it and they can match it, why can't the parish council? What's going on there? What needs to be fixed? The state can be a partner. Get a new governor, it can change a little bit, but no governor's going to turn his back on a parish. One of the things we've done, we built the Bayou Chene flood control project, $80 million. That was a stunning amount of money. The chances of Morgan City flooding dropped from 40% to maybe 10%. And when we finish it completely, it's going to drop to almost nothing. We've done the same thing all the way to Franklin. We've cordoned that off. We've all the way into Baldwin. We shouldn't flood for a long time. And in conjunction with that, we should go to the federal government and ask them to reconsider the flood control insurance that they charge us so much for, like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. That's ridiculous. We have houses that have been in Franklin for 150 years, never been flooded. You know, and now even the ones that have been flooded along the Bayou Teche, we fixed that. So 3 minutes is not nearly enough time to tell you what we can do, but if you're engaged, if you put your head to it, you come up with a plan, we can solve it.
Y'all good with that time? I've been waiting to ding-a-ring-ding somebody, but okay, that's good. All right, question number 4. We'll start off with you, Mr. Sam.
That 20 seconds, man, get there.
And just as a reminder, please keep the microphone close to your mouth. It is a one-directional microphone. That's what it's called. Okay. If elected, what will be your top priorities? If elected, what will be your top priorities?
I just think that the parish president needs to be full-time and on the job. Look, I'm committed to doing that, even if we change it for the next term. It's not a sacrifice. It's where I live, it's where we live, where our children live, where our grandchildren live and are going to grow. Every now and then you have to just get up and give something back, and I'm willing to do that. That's one major problem, and right now the only authority the parish president has is to pick the CAO. That's it. They don't have any other authority to do anything and come in 5 minutes, sign some checks, and disappear. That's not leadership. That's just dysfunctional. So I would say that's, if we fix that, we're on our way. It's not going to change everything. It's not going to fix everything, but it'll be a heck of a good start. Madam, I'd just like to mention a few other things that we've done. In fact, I'll say it this way. Senator Ale and Senator Gautreaux and I, in the time we were there, looked over the parish, said, what can we do to help? And we were unified in that help. If it was a bridge, we fixed it. The hospital in Morgan City. The hospital was just a few days from being shut down. I went to the parish council meeting and asked the parish president, you got 1 year, fix it, sign the agreement. Oh yeah, we're gonna get it done in 2 months. A year later, I'm driving back from Baton Rouge and I get a call, please stop at the meeting. Please stop at the meeting for the hospital. I said, what's wrong? I go into the meeting that says, we had 2 options, both of them quit. We have 2 months left and they're gonna close the hospital. I said, what? What? So I said, give me a few minutes. I walked outside, made some phone calls, and one of them was to the governor. I said, Governor, we're going to have a hospital closed here in Morgan City. We can't stand that. We got 70,000 people that go to that hospital potentially at any given time. I said, can we talk to Oshner? They were the last one, and see if we can't do an indemnification to get them to stay. He said, well, Sam, he said, there hadn't been a hospital closed during my tenure, so let's see what we can do. He called me back in 10 minutes. He said, you go tell him Oshner's is going to take the hospital. So I went back in and I told them. And a couple of nurses started clapping and everybody was dumbfounded. But I just don't know what was going on. Where was the parish? Where was the leadership? The idea that we could have the most important building next to the church closed down was just unthinkable. Those are the kinds of things that we need to get ahead of and stay ahead of.
Mr. Tim, your question. If elected, what will be your top priorities?
If elected, my priorities will be to review the budget to drive down costs without affecting the day-to-day operation, because it's important that the parish moves forward. Working with the parish council and determine the needs of the districts and start building a united front. This would allow us to have the same mindset and goals to bring St. Mary Parish forward and with new economic development. Show a united front for the parish council and parish president will encourage our community, our businesses, that we are strong as one. Reach out to the city mayors, city council, tribal council, to ask them what can we do better together. It is time for St. Mary Parish leaders to be united and fair across all areas and districts.
Question number 5, Mr. Tim, what is your economic development plan for St. Mary Parish? What is your economic development plan for St. Mary Parish?
Thank you. Economic development should be first and foremost. We should have a list of new businesses that would benefit St. Mary Parish. Contact them to discuss what's the need to get us to come to St. Mary Parish and to visit our wonderful community. Show them that St. Mary Parish and its communities have a lot to offer. We need to remove the red tape for small business owners to grow, work with our small business owners to assist them in that growth, then work to reward that growth with performance-based incentives. As leaders of the community, business owners have made a commitment to us, of St. Mary Parish. We should do that same commitment to help them grow their business. This will allow improvement in infrastructure, education, and population growth. We must start with St. Mary Parish small business growth, but not lose sight of large business and opportunities to come. This does not happen without our city and tribal leaders. If our cities grow, our parish grows. If our parish grows, our city will benefit the same. Thank you.
I started the Main Street program when I was the mayor of Franklin. It was the first one in the state. It was the beginning. And as we move forward, I'll jump a bunch of years ahead. When the people talking about coming here with the tire factory, storing it and disseminating it throughout the country, and later on maybe to make the tires here near one of our carbon black plants, I went and talked to the governor. I said, Governor, this is real, it's going to happen, but we need to speed it up, but we need to make sure that they understand we're for real. He said, well, what are we going to do? I said, well, somebody needs to go to South Korea and talk to the president. He said, okay, you want to go? I said, no, you can go. You have the big stick, you go. So he went. 1 week later, after they came here to visit us, and he had a great conversation with them. The chairman of the board was so impressed, he put $100 million into the program to get it started. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. We can get people to come visit here and this and that and everything else, but you got to know what their business is. You got to know what they're trying to achieve. You got to know what they want to do. You got to know all of those kinds of things before you just go willy-nilly and throw things out at them. These are business people. They're not there to listen to mush and all that kind of stuff. They want answers to what their questions are. Those are the kinds of things that we'll do. We'll take trips as they are required. If people come here, we will accommodate them. And we will also reach out to them. But we're going to be innovative in other ways. We're going to talk tourism. Tourism is a business too. People come here and spend money. It's good. There's so many other things that we can do and should do and have not been doing. We need to do those things. And you can only do that, folks, with a parish president that's full-time, not somebody that works 5 days a week, either from his house or out of town. That doesn't work. You have to be on the ball. You have to be committed to it. You have to be a driving force to make it happen. So, look, that's my pitch to you tonight. I'm happy to serve. I've offered to serve one time and then go home. But I think that one term, we can make the changes that we need to. And with the help of the mayors who really understand things, they really get it. The help of the mayors and the other elected officials, I think we can do it. And I thank you so much for this time for our discussion tonight.
Thank you. And Ms. Whitney, if I may, I'd like to give each of you 2 minutes to do final or closing remarks. We'll start off with you, Mr. Tim.
Thank you, and I appreciate everyone's here tonight. And I think that you hear from two different candidates. You hear that team building, for me, team building, getting out into the community, showing what the business in St. Mary's Parish can offer, working with our city mayor, council, and tribal leaders. I think it's important that we get on the same page. It's too much discrepancy between, it should be one mind, one focus, going straight forward. When we can get on the same page, then the world will all come to St. Mary Parish. We wouldn't have to go to South Africa and get a business. They will come to us. It's important to make sure that we sell St. Mary Parish for what is here and what our small businesses can grow and move forward. Thank you.
People have come forever, and they've taken things out of the ground. They do those kinds of things that we have here. They're going to come whether we ask them to or not. If you want to build this place and you want to build it with new businesses, you need to go to them. You need to convince them that you have at least something that will help their business be successful. It's a bit of a tough thing, but that's what you're asking for. That's what we're asking for. That's what we need to do. It's just not going to fall in your lap. So I just want to close by saying this. It has been the honor of my life to serve you, not only in Franklin as the mayor for 22 years, but in the Capitol for 20 years. A lot goes on in the Capitol. There's a lot of money that goes on there that can come here, but you have to know how to ask for it. You have to know how to take it. You have to know how to match it. You have to be committed. You have to have a plan. You have to do it. And that's what we've done. $1 billion. That's more money than every senator, every representative for 100 years combined has brought back to this parish. You've had a good working group in Baton Rouge. And I hope to be part of this when it comes back here to where we're living and where we're going to live, because you know what? This is home. This is where I was born. This is where I'm going to die. This is where I'm going to be buried. My kids, my grandkids, they're here. They love it here. We're not going anywhere. We just want to make it better. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where you get involved. Please give these gentlemen a round of applause. I would like our sheriff candidates to make your way to the stage.
And you are watching live coverage of tonight's forum featuring the candidates of St. Mary Parish President and Sheriff on the KQKI Digital Video Network. And coming up next, you will hear from the candidates running for St. Mary Parish Sheriff. Those will include Gary Driscoll, Cody Thibodeau, Jason Granger, and Kenny Scelfo. And Brian, I think we've heard some good responses tonight.
Yeah, we sure have. You had the opportunity to listen to both, or listen to those candidates that are running for St. Mary Parish President. And it's interesting because you heard Sam Jones talk about that we're the only parish in the state of Louisiana that does not have a full-time parish president.
Exactly.
And that does hurt you.
It really does.
You know,
really does.
And all you have to do is look at parishes like Terrebonne, and then you look over toward our west, Iberia Parish.
Sure.
And they've got full-time parish presidents, and they're booming.
They sure makes a difference.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the candidates for sheriff, and we will start off with Mr. Kenny Scelfo. And again, as the rules remain, you will have 2 minutes to introduce yourself. And again, I'll say this, I will respectfully cut you off if necessary. Mr. Kenny?
Good evening, everybody, and thank the NAACP for putting this on for everybody. I hope y'all can hear me okay. I'll just give y'all a brief description of my life here. I'm married to Jennifer Louise Goday. We have 3 children, Kenny, Megan, and Brooke. I'm a graduate of Franklin Senior High School. I hold a private pilot's license, and I have been for several years. I've had different jobs since I've been old enough to work. I have some aircraft mechanic experience. I have 42 years of working in the natural gas industry. And also in that time, I worked as a mechanic, an operator, a control technician, and a lead tech in charge of men and operations at a natural gas platform. I served with the police department for 18 years, where we performed all the everyday duties of the police officers and deputies. I went through the training with sheriff's deputies and police officers, and some of the guys I went through the training with are in here tonight. Also, in the time that I have worked, I worked to take care of the needs of people who live in our community. I served on the Franklin City Council for 16 years. In that time, I served as Mayor Pro Tem, and I was the chairman of the Public Safety Department. I have a history of protecting people. I always like to protect people. It's just a thing that came with me. And as Mr. Jones was here, we worked through hurricanes together, taking care of the needs and evacuating people as we needed to. Currently, I work in damage prevention for a natural gas pipeline company. And
That is your time. Sorry.
Oh.
Mr. Cody Thibodeau. That was respectful, I think. So, Mr. Cody Thibodeau, you have 2 minutes.
Cody Thibodeau. I have 16 years of law enforcement experience. I've worked in corrections, dispatch, patrol, detective, traffic, and administration. I've worked for several different departments, and that gives me an insight on what does work and what doesn't work. I feel for the St. Mary Parish Sheriff's Office to better serve the citizens of the parish. It needs to have fewer people in the office and more people on patrol and in the jail and in our schools. I plan on restructuring the department to better serve St. Mary Parish. I plan to get better and more training for the department. The administration I would put in place would work with their divisions. As a sheriff, I would work alongside every division of the department and not just be in the office alone. The persons I would have in the new administration bring many years of experience and dedication to St. Mary Parish. I feel that a complete new administration would bring a great deal of better leadership and knowledge than any previous administration.
Mr. Jason Granger.
You got it right. All right, how y'all doing tonight? Thank you for letting me be here. My name is Jason Granger, candidate for sheriff, a high school graduate of Franklin Senior High, 93. Lifelong resident of St. Mary Parish, honorable discharge veteran. Currently work for Dugal Company. This may be the first time you ever heard of me, seen me. I haven't used normal campaign tactics or strategies, should I say. And over the next couple of hours, you will hear from 4 individuals sitting up here who have their own views on how to implement change. I stand here before you asking you simply consider a different approach with the path the parish deserves. Thank you.
Mr. Gary Driscoll.
Good evening. First, I'd like to thank the NAACP for putting on this event. It's a very special event and will help inform the voters of the issues and accomplishments that we were able to accomplish in the last few years. I'd also like to thank everyone that is present and watching at home. I'm Gary Driscoll, and I want to be your next sheriff. I'm a lifelong resident, a father, a husband, and I'm proud to say I raised my family here in St. Mary Parish. All my life, there was 2 things I wanted to do: be in law enforcement and be a football player. After graduating high school, I didn't think LSU wanted a 168-pound linebacker. Maybe a water boy, but not a linebacker. So I chose to serve my country. I went into the United States Army and become a military policeman. In 1990, I was hired at the St. Mary Parish Sheriff's Office by Sheriff Huey Bourgeois as a corrections deputy. I went to patrol, narcotics, detectives, admin, and I'm currently serving as chief deputy, and I oversee all the day-to-day operations. The only job that I have not had at the sheriff's office is sheriff. And with my 37 years of career, I believe that I am the best man for the job. Thank you.
There are 7 questions for each of the candidates. We'll start off with you, Mr. Kinney. You are allotted 3 minutes each to answer the question. Again, I will repeat the question for the audience at home as well as in the room. Number 1, why are you seeking the office of St. Mary Parish Sheriff? What experience do you bring with you that has prepared you for the sheriff position? Why are you seeking the office of St. Mary Parish Sheriff? What experience do you bring with you that has prepared you for the sheriff position?
Okay, that's going to be a long one, but I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit so I don't run out of time. But I've always had an interest in law enforcement and serving the public. I served on the city council. We controlled budgets. We operated and balanced budgets out where it looked like you stood no chance. We always took care of our law enforcement. I feel that people should live their life in joy, not in fear. And right now we have several places where people are living in fear. And I want to get that turned around. You know, and everybody is somebody. We have incidents where some people have been treated right and some people are not being treated right. But that'll all come up a little later. But I have years with the police department in training, being on patrol, security, working with them. The only reason they call us a reserve is because we don't get any paid, but we do everything the same as a paid officer, which I have no problem with. That's just how I am. And my years of serving on the city council, we had problems in our police department, and I stood in there and I helped correct those problems. The budget balancing, y'all, I have experience in that, and I think these two work together. I have law enforcement experience and political experience, and I've worked with attorney generals. I worked with the sheriff's department. I worked with a bunch of different departments in trying to solve problems that we had, and I get along with everybody. So that's my reasons for wanting to serve and my qualifications.
Same question, Mr. Cody Thibodeau. Okay.
I'm seeking the office of St. Mary Parish Sheriff because I've worked under 2 different sheriffs with the St. Mary Parish Sheriff's Office, and under both sheriffs, it was the same thing. Too many people in administration and not enough people in the jail and on patrol. Every sheriff that has been elected to St. Mary Parish Sheriff, as long as I can remember, has promised more people on the road and in the jail, and no one has delivered that. I would restructure the department with fewer administrative positions and more patrol and jail positions. I've worked in just about every aspect of law enforcement, and that gives me the knowledge to be able to run and better every division of the St. Mary Parish Sheriff's Office.
Before you continue, gentlemen, could you move your signs over just a little bit so they can get a better view of you? In the meantime, I'll repeat that question. Why are you seeking the office of St. Mary Parish Sheriff? What experience do you bring with you that has prepared you for the sheriff position? Mr. Jason?
That's me? Okay. All right. So, I mean, I'm what you call fresh meat up here. Fresh as fresh can be. I want to bring awareness to procedures of investigations as performed by the St. Mary Parish Sheriff's Office. The lack of communication and acknowledgement procedures downfall. And when I say that, I'm talking about the victims and the St. Mary Parish Office. There's a break in the line right there. The victim is the victim, and they need to be treated as a victim. They need to get more justice as a victim. They don't need to be swept underneath the rug. So right there, my main concern is the victims. We need to treat them better. We need to keep them in the loop. If they were abused and their abuser is let out of jail, phone calls need to be made. Hey, he's out of jail, just to let you know. That has failed on many platforms. And what I bring to the table, I'm an Army vet, spent 6 years in there. Come out, I work for the city marshals. I'm currently employed with Dugal Oil Company. We supply most of the gas, at least half the gas in St. Mary Parish. That that job has led me to many hurricanes where I was first on the ground with boots. I didn't have nothing as the people that were there. I was in charge of 50, 60 trucks at a time, 300 guys. We're making sure we're sending people out to keep hospitals running, keep nursing homes running, attached to search and rescue units to where we can get out there and get the people, whether they were survivors or deceased, so we can bring them back. And right there is what I bring to the table. Mr. Driscoll?
I'm seeking the office of sheriff because I love my job. I love what I do. I love being a public servant, and I love helping people. I've dedicated my life to law enforcement and been in law enforcement for over 37 years. As I said earlier, I started my law enforcement career in the United States Army as a military policeman. In 1990, I started with the Sheriff's Office as a corrections deputy, where I would assist with the care and custody of inmates. I moved to patrol, where I answered numerous and various calls, such as wrecks all the way to homicides. I went to narcotics, where we executed numerous search warrants. We targeted narcotics dealers. I also worked undercover on numerous occasions. As a detective, it was challenging but rewarding. I worked numerous years as a detective and worked in such cases such as thefts, burglaries, and homicides. As far as my training goes, throughout the years I've received numerous training. I graduated from the St. Mary Parish Law Enforcement Academy. I went to schools for interview and interrogation, narcotics, homicide investigations, defensive tactics. I also became instructors in many of those areas and taught numerous cadets out of our academy. I also was on the SWAT team and became a sniper. With this critical and hands-on experience and training that I received, I am prepared for the role of sheriff. Thank you.
Question number 2, we'll start off with Mr. Cody. What do you think are the 3 biggest issues facing St. Mary Parish? What do you think are the 3 biggest issues facing St. Mary Parish?
I think the 3 biggest issues facing St. Mary Parish, there's little to no integrity in our elected officials. Just about every elected official in the parish lies about what they're going to do for you in the parish. I want to bring integrity back to the sheriff's office. If I say I'm going to do something, I will get it done. Second, there is little to no accountability for the actions of our elected officials and the persons they employ. I want to bring faith back to the public about the sheriff's office, so people know that if someone does wrong while I'm in office, they know the wrong will be corrected and actions will be taken to avoid it from happening again. Third, there's very little unity in the parish. I want to do my best to have the whole parish back to working together to make the parish safe for our kids and our grandkids to live, work, and play.
Mr. Jason.
All right, thank you. All right, so we all got different views on what's the three biggest issues facing St. Mary Parish. And I'm gonna throw it out there, and it's something we've been fighting. Gun violence. Starts at home. We gotta train our kids. We gotta help the law enforcement. I mean, that's just, it's a never-ending battle, but it never stops. When your kids reach 18, you keep guiding them. You don't just let them go. Drug distribution. It's a never-ending battle, but we can't stop. You got kids overdosing on fentanyl, getting addicted to methamphetamines, heroin. We have to put pressure on these drug dealers to get this out of here. Go back to a time when I was in school. If you had weed, you were lucky, but that was about it. We might have drank on the weekends, but we didn't have these deadly cocktails that are being made up and killing our kids. Our kids are our future. And we need y'all help. It can't just be law enforcement. We need the community's help. We need y'all to speak up. And that's the only way we're going to get this done is with the community. Y'all have to trust us again. And when y'all trust us and we provide a service and we there and we show y'all, we're going to get these drugs out of here. I got a 16-year-old daughter back there, and I am scared to death for her to even go to the gas station at night because you never know what she's going to encounter. And I kind of touched on it, the distrust from the community to the sheriff's office. If you don't trust us, it's going to go nowhere. We're here to serve and protect, plain and simple. And we gotta earn that trust back. There's no doubt about it. And if we earn that trust back, we'll get phone calls. Hey, so-and-so's right here selling drugs. Hey, so-and-so's over here selling guns. But it takes a village to raise kids. And my main point is kids. And with y'all trust in the sheriff's office again, make phone calls, get us there. We will stop this, but we need your help to stop it. Thank you.
Some of the main issues that we face every day is juvenile-related crimes. We have been on an uptick with violent crimes involving juveniles. Part of the issue is housing. There is no housing for juvenile offenders. We have to bring offenders all the way to Oklahoma, Mississippi, or even Alabama to house them. We also have ways that we're trying to help these kids because they are everything to us. They're the most precious thing we have, and jail is not always the answer. So recently, we got a grant for $150,000 for 3 years, and this grant is to have mentors to help at-risk juveniles. We hope we have somebody that is in this program. He's a counselor already, he's a preacher, and he goes into the schools and also the court system looking for troubled juveniles so that he can possibly get them on the straight and narrow. And hopefully we can get them on the straight and narrow before they get into trouble. Some of the other things is community policing. Like I said, this is means the world to me. I've been pushing community policing for the last several months because we have to reach these kids, and not just the kids, the adults. We've been going into schools, playing basketball and kickball, trying to show these kids that we're not the villains, that you could trust us. If there's issues, you could come to us. If you have a problem, we'll be there for you. Because sometimes that one ear that will listen makes a huge difference. And we do have to continue to gain trust of the people that we serve, because without them, it makes it hard to do this job. One of the other issues is drugs. We do have a drug problem in St. Mary Parish, just like across the United States. I think we need to be harder on the drug dealers, but I think we need to help the people that have drug problems. I think we need to get them more into drug courts and programs like drug court, because if we can get them clean and back on the straight and narrow, they could be productive in our community. The other thing that we have a problem with is mental health. Mental health is growing in the United States, and we have to deal with it on a daily basis. And we have some solutions and things that we're doing at the sheriff's office to help.
That is your time. While the comes back down, I'll repeat the question. Mr. Kinney, what do you think are the 3 biggest issues facing St. Mary Parish?
Okay, you're saying St. Mary Parish, so I'm going to be short with the ones facing the police department. I'm going to say the murder and the drug problems, but parish-wide is going to be getting business to locate here, and they're not going to locate here until we get the crime rate under control. And we need to be harder on crime. We need to send a clear message out to the criminal. If you come into our parish and you commit a crime, you're going to do the time. And that's gonna react throughout the whole parish. Once word gets out, nobody's going to want to commit the crime in the parish, and nobody's going to want to come out from another parish and commit the crime. We just need to protect and defend everybody fairly across our parish. I mean, you have my word for it, because you could go back and look at my record with the city council. When I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And when I say I'm going to protect you, I'm going to protect you. When I say I'm going to punish the criminal, I will punish the criminal. We can't just let things just go through the cracks. And we do have that drug problem, but we can get it under control. We can get it under control by stopping that dealer from coming here and selling to our kids. Once we do that, everything is going to start falling into place. That's all I have for that.
Okay, we're going to start off with Mr. Jason. Your question, this is question number 3. With St. Mary's budget in the millions of dollars, what experience do you have with big budget? How are you equipped to handle such a large budget? I'll repeat that. With St. Mary's budget in the millions of dollars, what experience do you have with a big budget? How are you equipped to handle such a large budget?
All right. That's a question. So I look at it, it's just your household budget on a much bigger scale. But they got people within the department that have degrees. This is what they major in for financials. They tell us what we can afford, what we can't, what we need to cut back on. And yes, the budget may be a huge budget. We may spend more money than the public likes, but you got to look at it. These officers need training. They need protection. They go out here risking their lives for pennies on the dollar. They need protection. They need training. So in short terms, we have financial advisors in place. Here's what we spend your money on. Transparency. There's nothing to hide. You can go pull it. And let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. That's how I feel on the budget. It's we got people in place, but we also need to reiterate that officers need it. They put their lives on the line. They go out there. They need bulletproof vests. They need the training, because without it, you'll have more officers on the side of the road that are dead, hurt, injured. And that's where I stand on that. Thank you.
Mr. Gary?
A few years ago, we were $500,000 in the hole. So we sat down, we started looking at the books, and we came up with a plan. We stopped spending on things that we wanted and bought things that we needed. All the wasteful spending went away. We taught our supervisors about budgets and financing, and we held their feet to the fire, and we set goals. At the end of that year, we finished with $76,000 in the black. It wasn't a lot, but it was positive. We continued with our plan, and we tweaked our plan as we went on the next couple of years. Last year, we finished with $1.2 million in the black. This year, 1.3. We did all this and much more. We used to buy used units from state police. In the last 3 years, we bought 30 vehicles, brand new. We bought trackers for those vehicles. We also bought body cams, much needed body cams. We never had them before. We had little cassette players, digital cassette players that we had to hit on to record. We also just negotiated with Axon dash cameras for the units, which would help us see more. They also have license plate readers in them. So as the deputies are traveling down the road, if they're in a parking lot, it'll show up if there's stolen vehicles or if there's an Amber Alert, which could help save a life. We also bought 2 new boats that was desperately needed. We have search and rescues constantly in this parish. We also did a lot of training or some work on training at the range. We have a couple of buildings out there in our training division. We'll be moving out there soon. We're also in the process of purchasing some property and building a new sheriff's office, one that's more equipped to what we need. We've given 3 raises in the last 2.5 years. And we did this all without raising taxes or asking to raise taxes. We did it with the budget that we had. We're going to continue to work with that budget. And we're going to be smart with your money, the taxpayers' money. Thank you.
Next, Mr. Kinney. With St. Mary's budget in the millions of dollars, what experience do you have with big budget? How are you equipped to handle such a large budget?
Well, as you know, I have experience with budgets. I was on the city council for 16 years, and we balanced our budget. We made it work. We got things for our police department. If we had to put buying a backhoe on hold, we did what was right. Now, the sheriff department has about a $12 million budget. They have a surplus. We need to spend it wisely. I can't see why we would need a new office building in Centerville, and we're going to close down the Morgan City branch, and we're going to close down Franklin. We got a 7th floor on the courthouse that we can use that for something. Somebody was just saying, juveniles, we don't have a place for them. We got a floor that's available. Let's use it. Let's spend the money wisely. Now, I know the sheriff department does have a surplus. They have a big surplus. But we need to spend it wisely. We need to give our deputies that are on the road a decent pay raise. We need to keep them from having to work double shifts just to try to survive. And we're working shorthanded. We need more men. You know, we're telling people they're going to have 9 people on the road at night, and we're down to 4. So I just can't get it past my brain. Why would we be looking to spend money on a building when we already have buildings? But I'll do everything I can to spend that money wisely. I will keep an eye on the budget. I mean, that's just what I do, and it will be spent wisely, and the deputies will be taken care of. We put all that money into training. We train them, and then they leave and they go to another department because that's the only way that they can survive and raise their families. All that's gonna have to change, and we will change it, and we will manage the department wisely and take care of everybody that works there.
Mr. Cody.
Although I've never really worked with a budget that large, I was nominated whenever I was 19 on the Budget and Finance Committee at the church that I was attending at the time. And that gives me a little bit of knowledge on how to manage the funds and be able to get everything done correctly.
Okay, we are halfway there, folks. Number 4, the question will go to Mr. Gary. You'll start it off. What is the biggest need of the Sheriff's Department now, and what would you do to fill that need? What is the biggest need of the Sheriff's Department now, and what would you do to fill that need?
Like every other agency across the United States, there's shortage of applications. Part of it is like what they said earlier. We're losing people out of this parish. We've lost thousands of people, so we don't have the applicants that we normally would do. But we have changed that. We've done some things to make it better at the sheriff's office, such as we've given a $10,000 signing bonus for 3 years experienced deputies that's post-certified. The Treasury Department is starting to put out $5,000 a signing bonus for anybody new in law enforcement. We recently started a longevity pay where we're keeping our officers that's been here a long time. We need their experience, so we need to do things to help them and promote them to stay. We also started a college tuition where we pay so much a semester because we want to educate our deputies and want them to get the best education they can get. And I will say this, they say we're short, we're actually only one down on patrol. We have 27 deputies on patrol, and we're only missing a couple people in the jail, about 3 people in the jail. And I think it's due to the fact that we changed the atmosphere here. We're keeping people. They're staying. And it's all because of how they're treated. We have to take care of our deputies. And I believe they're staying longer because they see the leadership, they're happy, the equipment that we're buying, and they know that the leaders right now at the sheriff's office has been in their shoes. We know what they go through, and we show them compassion, and we continue to make things better at the sheriff's office. And we will continue to keep people and hire more people. Thank you.
Mr. Kinney?
Question, ma'am?
Yes, sure. What is the biggest need of the Sheriff's Department now, and what would you do to fill that need?
Well, normally I would say a new sheriff, and I'm hoping that's the guy. I'm the guy right here. But we need fairness, honesty, and integrity. We must have this in order to keep a department where everybody is being treated fair. Our deputies need to be treated fair. There's no way that we can put somebody on the road. There's no way I could put anybody on the road and tell them to go protect the public, and I can't protect them. My job would be to protect them. They're going to protect the public. And they will get the best training. They will get the best equipment. They will stand out. They're not going to be just at the bottom of the feeding trough when it comes to pay raises. They have families to raise too, and we need to treat them fairly. And I'm going to kind of disagree on the people we have on the road because I've done some checking. We got very few deputies on the road. Now, we have a lot of them on the road right now. Does this mean we need to hold an election every 6 months? I don't want to think that way. We need the full 4-year term. I think that we need to go ahead and treat and protect the public fairly, because I've been on the road. There's some places that are not even seeing patrol, and they have crime that takes place there, and they may not be treated like the rest of the parts of the parish, and everybody needs to be treated fairly. Everybody is someone, and that's how I'm going to run that department.
Mr. Cody?
The biggest need for the Sheriff's Department right now is we need more personnel on patrol and in corrections. Also, they don't really have much cybercrime capabilities of handling cybercrimes and elderly victims crimes. I'd like to start units for those also.
Mr. Jason?
I guess I'm going to sound like a broken record up here, but we're going to go with personnel. Last on the lot, but it's okay. We need increase in pay, training, mental health training. We can't stop that. Mental health is an ongoing thing. And we need training. We ain't doctors, but we need training with it. We need to boost morale, camaraderie. While I was sitting here preparing for this forum, it reminded me of my comrades shared with during 6 years in the service. There was no racial divide. There was no color. There was no recognition. It was green, only green. We didn't see. That's all we seen. we were soldiers, plain and simple. We put our lives on the line as soldiers for pennies on the dollar. We loved it. We did it. And that's the only reason you gotta do this job up here. You gotta love it. If you don't love it, you ain't gonna do it. You ain't here for the money. And that same mentality needs to be carried back into law enforcement. What once was the blue line. It needs to be mended across all judicial areas and honored. We need to bring back morale. Morale's down right now, and that's pretty much all I got to say on that.
Question number 5 is going to start off with Mr. Kinney. Is there a known, accessible, and credible complaint mechanism available for citizens who wish to register a grievance regarding police behavior? Two-part question. Is the agency able to monitor complaints so as to identify patterns that may reflect? Is there a known, accessible, and credible complaint mechanism available for citizens who wish to register a grievance regarding police behavior? Is the agency able to monitor complaints so as to identify patterns that may reflect?
I'm going to say no. And I know they have one where maybe some of the bottom supervisors take the complaints. The way, and if they don't see where it's worth getting to the top, it'll never get there. And to me, that's not fair. All complaints should come to the top. The people, if they give me the job, if I'm sheriff, I work for them. Everything comes to me, and I'll handle that complaint fairly. And it will be dealt with. It will be dealt with. It will be looked into, and it will be dealt with. And if somebody that we have serving in the sheriff department is breaking and breaking the law and hurting somebody or not doing what they're supposed to do, I'll deal with it. I mean, I walk this parish. I talk to people. I know what's going on. I know there's some cases where, that one I can think of right off the top of my head. There was an elderly lady that was pulled over because she didn't have a tail light, and they pulled guns on her. That's not the way we're going to operate, guys. Everybody's going to be treated fairly. And I guess I said enough about that.
Mr. Cody.
To the best of my knowledge, supervisors are the persons that are investigating any grievances regarding police behaviors. I would have a person that their only job would be internal affairs and handling these complaints and being able to keep files on all of it to where they know if there's a pattern or anything to where we know exactly where to go with that personnel.
I'll repeat the question for Mr. Jason. Is there a known, accessible, and credible complaint mechanism available for citizens who wish to register a grievance regarding police behavior? Is the agency able to monitor complaints so as to identify patterns that may reflect?
All right. Honestly, no, I don't. I don't know if they have one. I mean, Mr. Driscoll here, he knows I tried registering a complaint before I was shot down with it. Me and him had a meeting about it. My plan is to have a board just for this, civilians and law enforcement. So you got both sides, not just law enforcement saying, no, we didn't do nothing, and not civilians saying, oh, law enforcement did this. Because just like these clips on Facebook you see a short clip of what a police officer did. You don't see the long clip of what led up to that. So I want a committee, both civilian and law enforcement, so they could check out the validity of the complaint and not just run back and say, hey, the cops have fault. No, because sometimes we're at fault. We got to take the blame sometimes. It always can't be on the cop. they're not always right, and neither are we. And that's how I feel on that. Thank you.
Mr. Gary.
By no means are we perfect. And yes, we have a system in place for civilians to come in and make a complaint on a deputy. You can call, you can email, or you can come in. We have forms that you fill out, and we investigate that complaint. We investigate it because we take it very seriously. We have policy and procedures. Depending on the type of complaint, the supervisor will investigate it, or if it's that serious, we will do an internal investigation. We have high standards, and we hold our deputies to those high standards. We want them to be professional at all times. There's been times where we've seen stuff on Facebook, complaints on Facebook, where it was never brought to us, but it was brought to our attention. We check into that as well. And yes, in years past, if you refuse to come to the sheriff's office to make a complaint and fill out a complaint, nothing was done. That's not how it works anymore. We investigate all complaints. We also have started working with Lexapol. It's a company that is rewriting all our policy, giving us the more updated policy. And in their policy, they have an early warning system. They also have a log that we would log down all issues, and we'd go over that log once a month with the supervisors so that we could see if there's a deputy that's in need of intervention, if there's a pattern. So also need your help, because if you don't come in or you don't call and tell us there's a complaint, one of our deputies are not being professional and we don't know about it, we can't fix it. I urge each and every one of you, if you've ever had a problem with a deputy, please do not hesitate, because we will not put up with it. We want to be the most professional agency around. Thank you.
Question number 6 goes to Cody Thibodeau. How would you handle situations with those with mental illness? How would you handle situations with those with mental issues?
Well, we would have to have regular and frequent trainings for all Sheriff Department personnel with handling complaints and situations with persons of different types of mental illnesses. There's been an increase in mental illnesses, and there's a need for all personnel to be trained in handling it.
Mr. Jason?
All right. All right, to me, this is a multifaceted question, because every situation has to be handled on a case-by-case basis. Mental health is not a one-size-fits-all. Regardless of circumstances, training for law enforcement and first responders must be ongoing. We need to forge a stronger relationship between law enforcement agencies, the coroner's office, local medical facilities to be addressed. But what mental illness fits him won't fit you, and it got to be a case-by-case basis. We're not medical professionals. We need the training, but all in all, we can't give the cure for it. We have the resources to get them the help, and we will get them the help. Plain and simple. I'm a veteran. 22 a day take their own lives. They suffer with PTSD. They don't want to talk. They don't. Because as a veteran, you feel you shouldn't break, and they're going to break. And regular person's going to break. Your vet's going to break. The strongest person in your life is going to break. And all you could do is be there to help them. And that's all you got to do. And you can lead them to their resources that they need. And that's just part of training, where we have to lead these individuals that have mental health issues to the resources that we have access to, and get them to get as much help as we can, because the way the world's going right now, everybody's going to have mental issues before it's all said and done with. Thank you.
Mr. Gary?
Honestly, mental health issues is very difficult on law enforcement. I don't believe that we have the resources. We're not doctors or psychiatrists, but we have done some things in the recent past to change those things. We train yearly on mental health, things to look for, things to do, things not to do. Several months ago, I didn't feel that that was enough. So we reached out to Tesh Action. We asked them to come in and give more classes to the deputies, and they did. We will continue to train. A lot of those people end up in our jails because of lack of funding. A lot of places is closed down, and usually about 50% or more end up in our jails. We see that. We know that. So recently, we reached out to the parish because we financially help the parish with our inmates. And we set something down in writing, and we're going to triple the time that we give the inmates for mental health because it's simply not enough. We got to do better. Mental health is an illness. It's not a crime. And there's good people that get arrested because they're not on the proper medicine. And there's good people out there that once they're on the proper medicine, you would never know they have mental illness. So we have to do better as a society to help these people. The fundings aren't there, and law enforcement has to deal with it on a daily basis. But we will do better. Thank you.
Mr. Kinney, how would you handle situations with those with mental illness?
I'll agree with all the other guys. They said basically what I was going to say. I know the sheriff department has some training, but the only thing that I would say, I'd say that we have a surplus of money. We need to get more training. Nothing should stop us from handling the mental illness. Now, another thing that I would say that we should have a registry where our deputies know before they get to a residence or before they're dealing with somebody that has a mental illness. You hear of cases all the time across the country where a mental patient is shot, you know, and it's because no one knew he was a mental patient when they went out to the scene. So that should come automatic. Everybody that has a mental condition, the address should be tied in. The deputy that's going out there, that should come up. You're headed to a house with a mental illness and kind of help give a description of that person and how he may act. It is a problem, but like I had mentioned earlier, we have the resources. We have the money. We just need to spend the money wisely. And I'll go back to saying I wouldn't spend any extra money on building a new facility when we don't need it. We have too much already. We have the Morgan City office, we have the courthouse, and we have that 7th floor that's not being used. We can't just keep wasting the taxpayers' money. Let's spend it wisely.
Final question, starting off with Mr. Jason Granger. What plan of action will you use to assist in helping to eliminate or decrease violence in the communities? Once again, what plan of action will you use to assist in helping to eliminate or decrease violence in the community?
All right, I touched on this a little earlier, but we got to build relations back between law enforcement agencies, all agencies across the parish. We all got to be on the same page. We all do the same job. Patterson, Franklin, Baldwin, Morgan City. Whether, city, sheriff, we got to come together as one. And we need to have a more stable police presence across the parish. This is the first step in a constructive relationship with the public, increasing their dialogue to lower crime rates. And it's like I said, you got to trust us. And without the trust of y'all trusting us, we're going to get nowhere. And that is my biggest thing is trust. We gotta have it. It takes a second to break it, but years to build it back. And the trust has been broken for a while, so it's gonna take a few minutes here to get y'all to trust us again. It ain't gonna come overnight, it ain't gonna come tomorrow. Hell, it might not even come 4 years down the line. All we can do is try and give it our best. Thank you.
Mr. Gary?
St. Mary Parish has had an issue with violent crime. And several months ago, I had put a team together, or last year I put a team together. And I told them to go out and be proactive. Stop people walking, riding bikes, driving in cars. I want you to be professional. I want you to gain intel. It's all about community policing as far as that goes. During those several months, we collected numerous weapons. From the year before, we collected about 25. In those few months that this team was starting out, we collected about 86. We found more people with weapons, but they was illegally possessed. Now, when we gain intel, when we find out who's starting all the violence, we target those individuals, and we go after them. We work very well with other departments in the parish, and we've done numerous operations with the other departments in the parish. Several months ago, I also started a chiefs meeting where the chiefs and assistant chiefs of all departments come together, and we share ideas and information, and we talk about what's going on in each other's areas, and we bounce those ideas off each other, trying to assist each other and try to come up with ways that we can combat all the violence. And I think we have. In 2021 to 2022, the sheriff's office's area, homicides dropped 71%. Armed robberies dropped 55%. Assault and battery dropped 26%. And burglaries dropped 18%. I think it's all because our deputies are out there being proactive, they're being seen, and they're doing the right thing. And we're going to continue to do so. And the other thing that I want to say is, Mr. Skelfo keeps saying we're shutting down the courthouse. That is not the case. Not the case at all. The courthouse will remain open, and we will have deputies on the 4th floor. We always will. We will have some type of office in Morgan City. But if you knew the condition of the branch office, you would understand why we need a new building. Thank you.
Mr. Kinney, the question is, what plan of action will you use to assist in helping to eliminate or decrease violence in the communities?
Well, that's an easy one. You send a clear message to the criminal. You know, we're going to enforce the law. Send that clear message to criminals. You do not want to do the crime. If you do the crime, you're going to do the time. And it's not going to be easy time. Have more deputies on the road, better training, better equipped, and better pay. Have school security all the time. We need to protect our kids at all times, in school and on the streets. We need to protect everyone in our parish at all times. We need to invest in drones for the department. And I mean some nice-sized drones that could stay out 3 or 4 hours. I'd even like to get that blimp that we used to have in the parish set up, where you can constantly watch over the whole parish. We will send a clear message to the criminals. You break the law, we will hunt you down, we will catch you, and you will go to jail. Simple. That would discourage anybody. And we're going to work through this. We're going to change things for the parish. And I just want to be given that chance and prove that we can change things in a quick hurry.
At this time, we'll allow you, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Cody, I apologize.
I plan on having more personnel on patrol to where we can have more frequent patrols throughout all of the parish, to where we can help deter and apprehend criminals in the parish and decrease the response times for deputies to get to complaints and emergencies.
Okay, thank you. We'll start off with Mr. Kinney for your final remarks and be given 2 minutes to do so.
Okay, my final remarks, I guess, would start out with thanking everybody again for coming out. And I want to thank you guys for running. It really takes a special person to try to get in law enforcement right now, the way things are across the country. So thank you guys, and good luck with everything. And then I want to go ahead and say that if you give me a chance, I will do better. We will get change. We will run a different police department. Everybody would be treated fairly. I have a record of doing that, and everybody that knows me knows that. I will do whatever it takes to take care of everybody in this parish and treat everybody equally. Thank you.
Mr. Cody, 2 minutes.
I want to bring integrity, accountability, and unity back to St. Mary Parish. I want to make St. Mary Parish a place that people want to come and live and stay. I want to grow the St. Mary Parish Sheriff's Office into the future. If elected, I plan on running for many more years to further the betterment of the St. Mary Parish and St. Mary Parish Sheriff's Office.
Mr. Jason.
All right. Thank y'all all for inviting me here today. And as you look on stage, I'm the odd man out. I don't own a suit. Never did, never will. I was always a working man. And that's the way I'm going to be. I'm not coming here to take anybody's job. Not taking Blazer's job. Not trying to take Gary's job. I want y'all to ask yourself questions. I want you to open your eyes. I want y'all to question, is he telling the truth, or is what he's saying right? Transparency. We need transparency between sheriff's office and victims. I cannot stress that enough. That is my main goal, because that victim deserves it. He or she don't need to sit at home and wonder if something bad happened, did that person get out of jail? Do I have to worry? Do I have to keep my doors locked? Do I need not to go out the house at night because I don't know if he's in jail or not? So I just want y'all to question, open, think just differently. Yeah, I'm fresh blood out here. Y'all not gonna agree with everything I say. Y'all not gonna agree with everything I do. And that's a given right off the bat. But I appreciate y'all listening to me. I appreciate y'all time. Thank you, and y'all have a good night.
Mr. Gary.
I'm Gary Driscoll, and I've been blessed to serve my country and my community for over 37 years. It may be too late for my football career, but it's not too late to help fulfill my dream of being sheriff. I have the experience, the knowledge, the training, and the leadership to build a better sheriff's office. So on October 14th, I humbly ask for your vote and your support. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you, guys, and please give them a round of applause. They had to go through 7 questions. I will tell you, in true journalism fashion, I got my notes, so get ready, fellas. I hope you have done the same. I hope that you will do exactly what I mentioned at the beginning of this. It is your civic duty to vote. Vote your conscience. These gentlemen have gotten up here and have given you what was on their heart and soul, and it's now up to you to hold them accountable. Vote your candidate into office to move our parish forward. I am Danica Long. Thank you very much. You guys, please be safe. Oh, I apologize. Please welcome the Vice President, Ms. Alfreda Edwards. I don't have any jokes for y'all. That's good, right? No, not me sing. I can harmonize pretty good.
Good evening. I'm Alfreda Edwards, and I am the president of the NAACP Branch 6091. And on behalf of Branch 6091, I'd like to take this time to thank those who are present here and those who are at home for taking their time tonight to listen to the candidates and to become an informed voter. Secondly, I would like to thank the candidates for answering the call to be public servants and to make yourself available to your constituents. Thanks also go out to the moderator, Danica Alone, for an outstanding job. Now, this event, the Enrichment and Empowerment Forum, would not have been a success without the organizing of the chairperson, Whitney Bro. Please stand, Whitney. Yes. And the committee members. Whitney had her committee, and I think they did an awesome, awesome job. So if any committee members are here, would you please stand? The NAACP was organized in 1909 as a grassroots advocacy for civil rights and social justice. The NAACP is the home of grassroots advocates for civil rights and social justice. The organization is an advocate for the right to vote. One man, one vote. Before parting tonight, I would like to leave you with a quote from the late U.S. Congressional Congressman John Lewis, a strong advocate for the right to vote. The vote is precious. It is almost sacred. It is the most powerful, nonviolent tool we have in democracy. So again, I want to thank you guys for coming out and becoming informed voters, and also again to the candidates for allowing yourselves to become public servants. So with leaving, I would like to say have safe travels back home or wherever it is you're going. And also, if you had not gotten an opportunity to sign in at the table, would you please? We would appreciate it. And again, good night, and thank you for coming.
And thank you for joining us for our live coverage of tonight's forum for the candidates running for St. Mary Parish President and Sheriff, sponsored by the St. Mary chapter of NAACP. There will be another forum for the candidates running for St. Mary Parish President this Thursday night, September 21st, beginning at 6 p.m. at Bayou Bend Wellness Center Conference Center. The final forum featuring candidates for St. Mary Parish Sheriff will be held on Monday, September 25th at 6 p.m. at the Patterson Civic Center. Both of those forums are sponsored by the St. Mary Chamber of Commerce. You may watch our live coverage of those forums on all of our video platforms. There will not be a live forum for the parish council candidates due to there being over 20 candidates running for those positions. However, a questionnaire is being sent to the council candidates, and their responses will be released in a digital publication on Friday, September 29th, the day before early voting begins. And we will publish the results at kqkinews.com. A reminder that early voting begins on Saturday, September 30th and runs through Saturday, October 7th, with Election Day 1 week later on Saturday, October 14th. Want to thank Danica Foley-Long for her moderation tonight of the forum. Also, Brian Prodich, who joined me on camera tonight, and all of those who made this forum a success. I'm Brady Burrell for the KQKI Digital Video Network. Have a great night.